and I can't let no holder lie to me. I don't feel these rappers, oh they lies, this hypocrisy. Ain't no competition, ain't no rivalry. Nigga think I'm playing, I don't hear one word they saying, this shit light work. Think Muhammad one of us, he might lose his life first. Circle up and stay alert, another cop just stretch the nigga. He a demon, it's an exorcism, watch I bless the nigga. You took that oath in blood, then you know I'm gon' get active with you. From the opposition, I see vision, let me paint the picture. Rappers claim they spit and I ain't listening, is in fact the If revenge was a woman, now I scope that bitch like Jake. So Tower War, we gon' run the summer, it's gon' be historical. Thought they making plays, made them niggas call the audible. Ask who run this shit, but that question is rhetorical. Bitch, I'm the one, me cookies with the oil. I'ma get them crackers, hell, should've never kidnapped my family. I can't just do that, bet I be the last nigga standing. Do a life sentence for my niggas, pray you understand me. I might put a switch on this Glock and call it Young Pay. How you real trigger know them dots, you a bird feeder. Claiming he a demon, what's a demon to a cold leader? When he saying something, I ain't hear him, this shit light. It ain't about who got the gun, it's about who gon' up that fight first. I turn a bad situation to a game changer. Bring soldiers from the dead, just raised up the chain frame. Shots, I'ma look like Aaron Jones when I run it. Never bite the hand that feeds you, you won't never get that hand back. He bitch about 10%, I don't wanna hear none of that. He dropping sword, fuck him, just make sure you get that cover back. Look around, he ain't with us, probably cause he never was. Now my chin like you with the angels for your brothers. Everybody wanna be Richard Porter, God kill him like Alpo. Play if he want, it's laying in the trunk like Lee Malvo. I'm a certified woman's ass nigga, I am not a toy. Hey, I with that hollow sign, yeah, this the rim accord. Feel like Gullah Jack when I'm in Fayetteville, you feel your boy. Still about my bread, still I think that's all that I do. The way I get that boy lost, they gon' start to call him Elroy. Fuck his game, pop out on them demons like I'm Hellboy.
They killed, give me Isaiah 14 and 21. They did the same thing to my people. So you said that they put millions of my actions. Yes, you said Should a murderer go to jail for murdering? Absolutely. Should a thief go to jail when he steals? Absolutely. Should a robber pay back the money he robbed? Absolutely. So why shouldn't the white man pay for what he did? That's right. That's right.
Was never expected to grow. Just obstacles set in the road. That a result of me selling my soul. The story I'm telling is cold, but yet it's what everyone knows. The white man's the devil is known. America was never a home, only a place of captivity, safe facility, hating, disfigure me. They claim that I'm lazy, be killing me. Maybe this slavery draining my energy. 400 years and counting. The trail of my tears is countless. Main fact that I'm here is astounding, but I can't wait till this shit is surrounded. Ready to tangle my king and the angel, be ready to rap. Crack in the sky, nuclear missiles and make it official. I'm capturing every cracker surviving. Put them all in chains where they need to be. Slavery for me, and let the whole world see that with them in the cage and safer in the streets. Put the dog on a leash, get resolved for the beast. 144, get the ruler show, we could all be at peace. As soon as the trumpets are sound, your kingdom we busting it down. The only way justice is found, the time for your judgment is now.
Do you see just how it feels? Payback is a dog. It's a dog. Payback is a dog. It's a dog. Payback is a dog. It's a dog. Payback is a
in my blood slim, it won't be no compromise. Now it's time to feed the worms, watch his body turn to flies. I clutch iron while you trust the lies. The next Glock I buy gon' be Gen 5, I get it customized. And sending shots off like farewell. Praying payback come back around like a carousel. Still remember your Honda's words ringing in my head like bells. Said you in this body, you fit a Lord, fuck the cocktail. Triangle choke, apply pressure to the game like I did Vondale. Payback's a bitch in a dress, she a bombshell. Revenge is served cold, I just hope they making oxtail. Glock fresh out the box, I swear it got that new car smell. Made myself a target in a world of mad shooters. There was design fire for our babies to pass through. In the day of our king's reign, I'll be overzealous. They bought my jealous up for a brand new pair of bellums.
Someday you'll see just how it feels. Payback is a dog. It's a dog. Payback is a dog. It's a dog. Payback is a dog. It's a dog. Payback is a dog. It's a dog.
Hey, Shalom, Israel. Yahweh Bashem, Yahweh Shah Barakathon to the brothers watching. Yahweh Shemalathon Bashem, Yahweh Shah to the sisters watching. This is the ISUPK, started out of 1 West, 125th Street, Harlem, New York, under Commanding General Yohana. We are not affiliated with any Hebrew Israelite group. If it's not 1 West, if it's not ISUPK under Commanding General Yohana, you are not in the truth. You're tuned in with priests. Officer of 1,000, Umar, ISUPK, Kentucky, man. And of course, you're tuned in to our Monday night history class. And before we get off into it, I want to invite every so-called Black, Hispanic, and North American Indian to tune in to our weekly content, because the content do be content, man, for real. Monday night, we got the history class taught by yours truly. Tuesday night, brotherhood class taught by Officer of 1,000, Amawanga Bar. And Wednesday night, you got the podcast, man. The baddest podcast in Kentucky, the only Kentucky podcast you should be watching, man. Cry Out, Spirit Not podcast, hosted by Officers of 1,000, Amawanga Bar, and Asiapium. And come in here, the biblical breakdown, the biblical solution to all of the viral videos going across the internet. Come and get your whole timeline broken down by 2 priests and prophets and the UPK under Commander General Yohana. So Monday night history class, Tuesday night brotherhood class, Wednesday night the podcast. Now tonight, appreciate y'all tuning in to me, man, to soak this game up. Tonight we finna get into the origin of Pan-Africanism, the truth about Pan-Africanism, and Umar Johnson, the so-called prince of Pan-Africanism. Now again, we finna talk about the history, the truth of Pan-Africanism, where it comes from, who started it, who funded it, why it exists. We finna talk about people like Edward Blyden, the father of Pan-Africanism. We finna talk about Marcus Garvey, the so-called king of Pan-Africanism. We finna talk about of course, we're going to talk about Umar Johnson, since you're seeing his face everywhere right now. We're going to talk about where some of this money went. All right. And as usual, it's only going to be drop. It's only going to be straight drop that you can get in the ISUPK under Commander General Yohana. You're not finna get this nowhere else. You're not finna get this nowhere else. So again, the truth about Pan-Africanism and Umar Johnson. Let's walk. Let's walk. All right, first of all, the name Africa. All right, where does the name Africa come from? Now, there's a lot of misconceptions about the word, a lot of misconceptions about the name. We finna give y'all the origin of the word tonight. All right, there's no doubt that Africa is the feminine adjective derived from a word, afer. All right, Africa comes from the feminine adjective, or Africa is the feminine adjective derived from a word called afer. Now, the original inhabitants of Tunis were cave dwellers. All right, Herodotus in his second book describes the customs and country of these troglodytes. Troglodyte just means cave dweller. Now, the principal part of this cave dwelt chain is still called the Jibril Ephraim, from the tribe of Ephraim, who inhabited. All right, according to the Berber historian, this tribe dwelt there from time immemorial, and he mentions that they derived their name from the Berber word Ephri, which signifies a cave. All right, the word Africa comes from the word Ephri, that just means a cave. It is clear that Afer is merely a Latinized form of the Libyan equivalent Ephraim, that just means cave dweller. All right, this is the origin of the word Africa, and it just means cave dweller. All right, now, this name got attached to a Roman general after he defeated Hannibal in the Punic Wars. All right, he defeated Hannibal of Carthage in the Punic Wars, and he was given the title of Africanus. All right, his name was not Africanus. He was given the title Africanus because he conquered the Carthaginians in this area. Now, later on, his grandson named the whole northern part of the continent Africa Proconsularis. All right, but the word comes from a Libyan word, an indigenous African word that means cave dweller. So when you call yourself an African, what you're calling yourself is a cave dweller or a troglodyte, because this is what the word means. Here's your source: the Berbers, Journal of the Royal African Society, 1903. All right, let's walk. All right, the father of Pan-Africanism, Edward Wilmot Blyden. Now we're going to start to see a theme dealing with Pan-Africanism. All right, Africans don't believe in Pan-Africanism. All right, Africans didn't start Pan-Africanism, nor did Black Americans start Pan-Africanism. You're going to see a lot of this come from Caribbean immigrants that are going to bring Pan-Africanism into the United States. So here's your father of Pan-Africanism. Now, he was an ordained Presbyterian minister. All right, he was a Christian pastor. That's another thing you finna see in Pan-Africanism. You finna see a bunch of pastors, and you finna see a lot of Masons. All right, dealing with Pan-Africanism, you're gonna see a lot of pastors and a lot of Masons. All right, and he worked with an organization called the ACS. We finna get into them in a minute. Now, Blyden immigrated to Liberia in 1850, paid for by the ACS, or the American Colonization Society. But here's the problem. All right, the ACS was started by white people. All right, the ACS was started by white abolitionists, and their whole point was to get rid of Black people in the United States. Their whole point was to get rid of Black people in the United States and send us into Liberia. All right, send us into Liberia. All right, these people have never given a damn about us in this country. All right, the whole abolitionist movement was to get rid of Black people out of the United States. All right, so 1850, paid for by the American Colonization Society. Now, who they were? Again, it was started by white abolitionists, and it was established to address the prevailing view, all right, the prevailing view that free people of color could not integrate into U.S. society. The population had grown steadily following the Revolutionary War, And white Americans believed that blacks were inherently inferior and therefore should be relocated. All right. And these were your so-called progressive good white folk. These were your so-called progressive good white folk. All right. This was your abolitionist movement. And they believed that we were inherently inferior and needed to be relocated. All right. And their plan was to move us into Liberia. And this is where this whole Back to Africa movement comes from. All right. This whole Back to Africa movement comes from white abolitionists. All right. January 15, 1817, James Fortin, Richard Allen, and Absalom Jones. Now, these are your three black founding fathers. All right. If you didn't know that the United States had black founding fathers, you finna find out today. All right. These are your three black founding fathers. All right. Pastors in the AME church. And again, Freemasons. All right. James Fortin, Richard Allen, and Absalom Jones. All right. This white organization called the ACS used black pastors and black Masons to push this Back to Africa movement on black people in America. All right. They called a meeting to discuss the American Colonization Society in the Mother Bethel Church in front of a 3,000 member congregation to promote moving to Africa. But not one person wanted to go. All right, this original Back to Africa movement failed. It was a flop. All right, because nobody was talking about moving to no goddamn Africa. All right, but this was done in the Mother Bethel Church. All right, the origin of the AME Church in front of a 3,000 member congregation to promote moving to Liberia. All right, now, when Blyden got there, he flipped and turned Muslim on y'all. All right, he flipped and turned Muslim on y'all. He said Mohammedanism in Africa has left the native master of himself and his home. But wherever Christianity has been able to establish itself, foreigners are taking possession of the country and in some places rule the natives with oppressive rigor. All right, Edward Wilmot Blyden, the father of Pan-Africanism. He left out of here. He went to Liberia. He flipped and played Muslim on y'all. He flipped and played Muslim on y'all as if Islam can't do anything for black people at all. But let's find out what Islam can do for black people. Let's find out if Islam is for black people at all. All right, here's your source. All right, Hadith 163. All right, this is actual Islamic history. It says, while we were sitting with the prophet in the mosque, a man came riding on a camel. He made his camel kneel down in the mosque and tied his foreleg and said, who amongst you is Muhammad? At that time, the prophet was sitting amongst us, leaning on his arm. We replied, this white man reclining on his arm. All right, Islam has nothing to do with black people. Islam has nothing to do with blacks, Hispanics, and North American Indians, the chosen people of God. All right. In the ISUPK under Commander General Yohana, since 1969, we've been teaching the truth about this Bible. And that truth is that so-called black, Hispanic, and North American Indians are the chosen people of God. And our oppressor is the devil that the Bible speaks of. All right. Islam has nothing to do with the Lord's chosen people. Islam has nothing at all to do with the Lord's chosen people. Let's walk. All right. Henry Sylvester Williams is another giant in Pan-Africanism. Another giant in Pan-Africanism. And here's your theme coming out of the Caribbean. All right, he coined the term Pan-Africanism. 1897, he moved to England to form the African Association. He loved Africa so much, he moved to England. He worked as a lecturer for the Church England Temperance Society, where he met and married a white woman named Agnes Powell, daughter of Freemason Captain Francis Powell. All right, another theme, again, the main theme you're going to see running through Pan-Africanism is they're going to be coming out of the Caribbean. You're going to see a lot of pastors, a lot of Christian pastors, and a lot of Freemasons, and a lot of times married to a white woman. All right? You cannot be talking about anything black if you have a white spouse. All right? You cannot be talking about anything black if you have a white spouse. And that's just what it is. All right, Marcus Garvey. I know this is going to piss some of y'all off. I know y'all love Marcus Garvey. This finna piss some of y'all clean the fuck off. All right? So lock it for my language. But the Bible says be rude in speech, but not in knowledge. But Marcus Garvey, y'all finna hate me for this one. If Umar Johnson is the prince of Pan-Africanism, then Marcus Garvey definitely has to be the king of Pan-Africanism. Now, is Marcus Garvey a white supremacist? Well, look who's in the picture with him. All right, if anybody in the chat knows who's the white boy in the picture with him. I said this was only going to be dropped you can get in the UPK under Commanding General Yohana. All right, who's the white boy in the picture with Marcus Garvey? All right, Walter Plecker. Walter Plecker is the white boy in the picture with Marcus Garvey. Now, who was Walter Plecker? All right, he was an American physician and public health advocate who was the first registrar for Virginia's Bureau of Vital Statistics, serving from 1912 to 1946. Plecker directed registrars around the state to change birth certificates to cross out Indian and write in color. All right, this white boy was responsible for some of the paper genocide of the American Indian in Virginia. All right, he was responsible for the paper genocide of American Indians in Virginia. And he was rolling with Marcus Garvey. A man responsible, a white devil responsible for the paper genocide of American Indians is rolling with Marcus Garvey. All right, this was a source, Daily Telegraph. Prominent black activist Marcus Garvey once said, "I regard the Klan, the Anglo-Saxon clubs, and white American societies, as far as the Negro is concerned, as better friends of the race than all other groups of hypocritical whites put together." See, here's the thing. Here's the thing. For some reason, we believe that there's good white folks out there. Some reason we believe that the Republicans are the evil ones and the Democrats are somehow our white allies. But I'm here to tell you, as a priest of the Lord, that we don't have no white allies. There's no such thing. All right, the white Republican is the devil and the white Democrat is the devil. All right, the white New Yorker is the devil and the white man from Alabama is the devil. We don't have no white allies. Let's walk. All right, source, Marcus Garvey telegram to Ernest Sevier Cox. All right, the fact is that the modern Negro is a lazy, good-for-nothing slumberer. This was a quote from Marcus Garvey. Marcus Garvey said, "The modern Negro is a lazy, good-for-nothing slumberer. This is my conviction arrived at by close and careful study and experience, and if something is not done for him, he will die as other unfit races have." It says he will die as other unfit races have. He's quoting Charles Darwin. All right, Marcus Garvey is quoting a white supremacist named Charles Darwin, and he's writing this letter to another white supremacist named Ernest Sevier Cox. All right, Marcus Garvey believes that white people need to do something for us, otherwise we're going to die as other so-called unfit races have. And again, this is a direct quote from Charles Darwin, Origin of the Species. All right. He believes if white people don't do for us, if white people don't take care of us, then we're going to die as other unfit races have. And that term unfit, that's nothing but eugenics talk. That's nothing but eugenics talk. And again, the point is he's writing this letter to another white supremacist. And we finna get to the bottom of who this other white supremacist is. Who is Ernest Sevier Cox? This is the white boy he's writing to. All right, self-styled ethnologist Ernest Sevier Cox announced Virginia's eugenic fears regarding the race question. Introducing his book, White America, he wrote, "The Negro problem is a part of the greater problem of heredity." What is he saying? He's saying that black people are inherently inferior to white people. All right. This man is saying that black people are inherently inferior to white people. And this is Marcus Garvey's homeboy. When eugenics seek to eliminate the unfit and establish the fit it has for its purpose, not the betterment of physical types merely, but the establishment of those types of greatest value to progressive civilization. All right. This is what the eugenics movement was all about. And this is where Planned Parenthood actually came out of. All right. Because Margaret Sanger was a eugenicist. All right. And there was a quote when she said that she doesn't want word to go out that they plan to eliminate black people. All right. The whole origin of Planned Parenthood was to commit genocide on black and indigenous people. All right. And that comes right out of the eugenics movement that Ernest Severe Cox was talking about. And this was Marcus Garvey's homeboy. All right. In his eyes, African Americans represented an unfit type and were a matter of concern for the eugenists. According to him, those who seek to maintain the white race and its purity. All right. So it's eugenics and the race question. All right. This was Marcus Garvey's homeboy. All right. This is who y'all worship as the king of Pan-Africanism. And he's rolling with two white supremacists. How can you be the king of Pan-Africanism and you rolling with two white supremacists? All right. The relationship between Marcus Garvey and Ernest Cox developed into a genuine friendship. In one of his books, Garvey presented a full-page ad promoting the book White America without charge. So Marcus Garvey was promoting this white supremacist book in his paper. Now, what kind of shit is this? But this is who people worship. This is who people worship as the king of Pan-Africanism. All right, Pan-Africanism is bullshit. All right, Pan-Africanism is bullshit. Let's walk. Was Marcus Garvey a black European? Well, we know that black people were all over the world. We know you had black people in the Americas prior to Columbus. All right, we know that the transatlantic slave trade brought black people here from West Africa. But a lot of black people came here from Europe also. All right. Malcolm Mosiah Garvey I is born 1837 in St. Anne's Bay, Jamaica, the son of William Garvey. We've got another William Garvey, a Jacobite, that came here from Scotland to Jamaica. All right. Was Marcus Garvey a descendant of black Europeans? If he was, what's this African talk? All right. If his lineage goes back to black Jacobites, allies of King James, that was sent here in the 1740s after the Jacobite Wars and ended up in Jamaica, what's all this African talk? All right, let's walk. Melville Herskovitz, president of the African Studies Association, 1958. This day in Jewish history, 1963, the white Jewish father of Pan-African studies dies. This is where you're going to get a lot of funding for Pan-Africanism. A lot of your funding for Pan-Africanism is going to come from these small hats. All right, a lot of your funding for Pan-Africanism is going to come from these small hats. Melville Herskovitz is best known today for his book, The Myth of the Negro Past, 1941, and argued that one could find among American Negro survivals or retentions of African background, meaning that Black Americans somehow have an African culture. As if Black Americans somehow have an African culture. I want anybody in the chat, if they could tell me what African culture do Black Americans have? Because this is what Africans do. All right, Africans, all the way back to the ancient Egyptians, they circumcised girls. All the way back to ancient Egyptians. All right, these people circumcised their girls. I've got two sources of Egyptians circumcising girls. All right, that's not black culture. All right, we were not the ancient Egyptians. We were the people that were enslaved under the ancient Egyptians. The same way we were enslaved in the Americas. All right, we were not the ancient Egyptians. We were ancient Egypt slaves, the same way we were America slaves. All right, but these people circumcised girls. All right, like I said, a lot of this Pan-Africanism, a lot of it was funded and pushed by these small hats. All right, one of them was named Julius Rosenwald. All right, the West 135th Branch, YMCA at 181 West 135th Street was built in 1919 at a cost of $375,000 with the funding from Julius Rosenwald. All right, participants and leaders in the Harlem History Club included Willis Nathaniel Huggins, who also owned Blyden Bookstore. We talked about Blyden. John Henry Clark, we finna get on him. All right, John G. Jackson, J.A. Rogers, William Leo Hansberry, and Kwame Nkrumah. All right, all of this being funded by a small hat named Julius Rosenwald. All right, John Henry Clark. Y'all finna hate me for this one. John Henry Clark, a pioneer in the creation of Pan-African and Africana studies in professional institutions and academia starting in the 1960s. Now we're going to start to get into academics. We're going to start to get into this being taught in the curriculums. All right, college level, primary school level. All right, this is going to start to get into academia in the 60s. And we're going to talk about how it got there. All right, John Henry Clark has moved from duplicity, from brazen flaunting of his role as guidance counselor to the Pentagon and Safari Scout for who? Y'all can read it. Y'all can read it. Here's John Henry Clark. All right, a Safari Scout for the CIA in the Harlems of the U.S. and Africa. All right, Dr. Ben, another giant in Pan-Africanism. People love Dr. Ben, but you got to get this work too. All right, there's no doubt about Salakia. There is doubt about whether Dr. Joseph Buchanan was truthful about his birthplace. There is agreement, however, that he was raised in the Caribbean. 1938, he is said to have earned a BS in civil engineering at the University of Puerto Rico. This is disputed as the registrar has no record of his attendance. Ben Buchanan also stated that he began teaching Egyptology at Malcolm King College in Harlem in 1958, but this volunteer run effort was not founded until 1968 when he started with 13 students. So either he's got a really bad memory or he's a goddamn liar. He also claimed to have earned a doctoral degree in cultural anthropology and Moorish history at the University of Havana and the University of Barcelona. Barcelona said they had never received a degree from their university. Barcelona says that he never received a degree from their university. So again, either he has a really bad memory or he's a goddamn liar. Now it goes even deeper. All right, immigrated to the United States in the early 1940s. He was appointed chairman of the African Studies Committee at UNESCO headquarters in 1945, where he served in that position until 1970. Now, what is UNESCO? All right, 1947, officials at the United Nations Educational, Scientific, and Cultural Organization announced the establishment of an unprecedented worldwide literacy program entitled Fundamental Education. 1962, the World Bank issued loans to provide programs involving secondary education, and then beginning in 1970, to projects supporting the improvement and expansion of primary education. Now, if you don't know, I taught a class on this a while back. All right, our primary education, K through 12. All right, that comes out of German war propaganda, and German nationalism. All right. Go ahead and check it out. ISUPK Kentucky, where I taught on the origin of the public school system. All right. And we know what comes out of German nationalism and German war propaganda. That's what Nazi Germany comes out of. All right. Nazi Germany and the American public school system have the same origin, which is German war propaganda and German nationalism. So now we have international banking systems that are putting money into this. All right, specifically, we investigate the ways in which the dynamics of real politics significantly influence UNESCO and the World Bank's international aims with regard to educational programming. And that is all our educational system is programming. All right, and it's done to dumb down the masses of people and to make us compliant servants and people that can't think for themselves. All right. And now we have international banks that are putting money into it. But let's talk about what happened. The CIA said today they prepared a report in 1986 stating that the Bank of Credit and Commerce International acquired control of Washington's largest banking company in 1982. The CIA report is important because it shows that at least 5 years ago, government agencies had clear warning that rogue international bank secretly owned First American. Officials at the Federal Reserve have said that because of questions about the BCCI's financing, they would never have permitted it to own an American bank if they had known, coming out of the New York Times. All right, there was a huge scandal. There was a huge scandal with this that caused the closing down of the BCCI. And all of this is coming out of funding education. And again, at this very same time, we have Pan-African studies being pushed at the college level and the K through 12 level. All right, at the very same time, you have world banks funding education. At this very same time, we have the push to get Pan-Africanism taught in these schools and universities. All right, Leonard Jeffries. I got a clip of Leonard Jeffries saying he's Powhatan Indian. I've got an interview from Leonard Jeffries saying he's a Powhatan Indian, but now somehow he's African as well. All right, Leonard Jeffries Jr., University Administrator, Professor, and Pan-Africanist, born 1937 in New Jersey. A Rockefeller Foundation and Whitney Opportunity Fellow, Jeffries earned in 1972 Columbia University PhD in political science under the direction of Elliot Skinner, Emmanuel Wallerstein, and L. Gray Cohen. All right, Leonard Jeffries studied under L. Gray Cohen. Well, who was that? All right, L. Gray Cohen, right here at the bottom, director, African Institute. All right, American Society of African Culture, L. Gray Cohen, director of African Institute. What does it say up here? Position related in CIA related organization. This is who Leonard Jeffries studied under. Leonard Jeffries studied under L. Gray Cohen. All right, director of African Institute and American Society of African Culture is a CIA-related organization. All right, it goes this deep. It goes this deep to push a Pan-African idea or a Pan-African ideology or a Pan-African worldview on Black Americans. All right, Leonard Jeffries studied under L. Gray Cohen. We just read it. L. Gray Cohen was the director of African Institute in American Society of African Culture, and this is the position in CIA-related organization. It was a CIA front. All right, and again, it gets this deep to push Pan-Africanism on Black Americans. All right, J.D. Rockefeller was an outspoken supporter of eugenics. Remember, we just read that Leonard Jeffries was funded by Rockefeller. All right, it says J.D. Rockefeller III and John Foster Dulles who was chairman of the foundation at the time, established the Population Council to advise family planning, birth control, population control, and goals of the eugenics movement. Again, we're going back to people like Ernest Cox that roll with Marcus Garvey. All right, we're talking about people like Edward Wilmot Blyden, the father of Pan-Africanism, that worked with the American Colonization Society to promote to get rid of black people out of America. All right. Now there was a group called ASCAP, all right, Association for the Study of Classical African Civilization, started in 1984 by John Henry Clark. We just talked about him. Asa Hilliard, we finna get on him. Leonard Jeffries, we just talked about. Jacob Carruthers, Dr. Ben, we just talked about him. And Malana Karanga, we finna get on him too. All right, ASCAP, Association for the Study of Classical African Civilization. All right, let's walk. Malana Karanga. All right, a few weeks after the assassination of Martin Luther King, Karanga slipped into Sacramento for a private chat with Governor Reagan at the governor's request. The Black nationalists also met clandestinely with LA Police Chief Thomas Redden after Mr. King was killed. All right, Malana Karanga was an informant, y'all. All right, you can look this up. All right, Malana Karanga, the person that started Kwanzaa, was an informant. He was an informant. All right. We recognize and are in debt to the great contributions made to our story. For that, we are grateful. But I must also point out the unfortunate side of Asa Hilliard's admitted membership to the Boule. All right. If you're not familiar, the Boule is the biggest secret society. All right. It's the top of the food chain as far as secret societies go. All right. As far as black secret societies go. All right. Asa Hilliard, who rolled with Leonard Jeffries, who rolled with Dr. Ben, who rolled with John Henry Clark, who rolled with Malana Karanga, was Boule. All right, and if you're not familiar with the Boule, I taught a class on it. All right, I taught a class on the Boule back in February. Look it up, ISUPK, Kentucky. All right, Asa Hilliard was a Boule member. All right, Leonard Jeffries became the oral history director of the Carnegie-funded Kente Library for Black Genealogical Research in Washington, D.C. He also consulted on Alex Haley's Roots in 1977 and a television miniseries that followed. All right, he consulted on Alex Haley's Roots and in 1977, the television miniseries that followed. But first, he was the director of the Carnegie-funded Kente Library. Well, who is Carnegie? All right, to the residents of Johnstown and many people across the nation, blame lay clearly on Andrew Carnegie. Henry Clay Frick and other wealthy and prominent Pittsburgh businessmen who, as members of the South Fork Fishing and Hunting Club, owned the dam and thus was responsible for its collapse. All right. Andrew Carnegie, the person that's funding Dr. Leonard Jeffries, is responsible for the flooding and the destruction of a black town called Johnstown. All right. Andrew Carnegie didn't want to put the money to hold this dam that flooded a black town, but he's pumping money into Pan-Africanism. Let me say that again. Andrew Carnegie did not want to spend the money for a sufficient dam that when it collapsed, it flooded and destroyed a black town. He didn't want to put the money into that, but he's pumping money into Pan-Africanism. Now make that make sense. Let's walk. And Leonard Jeffries has said he worked with Alex Haley on the book Roots. Well, here's the problem. 1977, Alex Haley was accused of plagiarism in two separate lawsuits by Harold Corlander and Margaret Alexander. Corlander claimed that Roots was copied from his fictional novel, The African, 1967. Walker claimed that Haley plagiarized from her Civil War era novel, Jubilee, 1966. Corlander's suit was settled out of court for $650,000, and an acknowledgement from Haley that certain passages from Roots were copied from The African. All right, Alex Haley was a plagiarist. And he plagiarized a fictional novel. So if the book he copied from was fiction, that means Roots was fiction too. If the book he plagiarized from was fiction, that means that Roots is fiction too. And these are the people that Leonard Jeffries are rolling with. All right, Jesse Jackson. Remember I said a bunch of pastors and Freemasons, right? All right, a movement led by Reverend Jesse Jackson to call blacks African Americans has met both with rousing approval and deep-seated skepticism in a debate coming to symbolize the role and history of blacks in this country. 1989, New York Times. All right, African American favored by many America's blacks. All right, Jesse Jackson was born Jesse Lewis Burns. He is the son of Helen Burns. She never married his father, Noah Lewis Robinson. Now, Noah Lewis Robinson's ancestry includes Cherokee and Irish. And again, this is Jesse Jackson's father. All right, Robinson is one of the 100 most common names in Ireland. All right, this is where the Irish side is coming from. Jesse Jackson's second great-grandpa, Jesse Christie, was Cherokee. Now we're going to take it a step further. All right, this is Jesse Jackson kinfolk right here. All right, 1900 federal census, they were living in Indian Territory. All right, 1900 U.S. federal census, Jesse Jackson kinfolk was living in Indian Territory. So where is this African shit coming from? 1900 U.S. federal census. This is Jesse Jackson kinfolk. And they were living in Indian Territory. But now somehow he's talking this African shit. All right, again, make this make sense. Somebody make this make sense to me. All right, Umar Johnson. This is who y'all been waiting for. This is the one y'all been waiting on. Dr. Umar Johnson. Efan Tunde. Can you put a couple dollars together for me? All right, the Prince of Pan-Africanism. Well, this is what he thinks about black folks. This is what he thinks about black folks. But this isn't what y'all came here to see. This isn't what y'all came here to see. All right, here's Umar Johnson rolling with his with some Freemasons. Again, when we're going back to Pan-Africanism, we're talking about pastors and Masons. Pastors and Masons. And a lot of them had white women. And we just heard Umar Johnson talk about a white woman saved the Prince of Pan-Africanism. I'm not going to tell you what he said. I'm not finna repeat the vulgar statements that he made. But you know what he says about what he calls snow bunnies? Y'all know what he says. But that's not what y'all came to hear either. What happened to the money? Now, you're not finna get this nowhere else besides the UPK and the Commander General Regan Hunter. United States Court of the Eastern District of Pennsylvania. August Archibald, the plaintiff. Here's your case number. All right, defendants, Umar Johnson, Frederick Jalal, and Shakim Harris. All in his individual capacity. All right, United States Court of the Eastern District of Pennsylvania. I hope this is very clear to see. United States Court of the Eastern District of Pennsylvania. Again, the plaintiff, August Archibald versus Umar Johnson, Frederick Jalal, and Shakim Harris as the defendants. Here's your jurisdiction in accordance with 28 U.S. Code 1331. All right, 1343, 1367, 1391, B2 and the district courts have supplemental jurisdiction. Background information. Umar Abdullah Johnson, born Jermaine Shoemakers, founder of the Frederick Douglass and Marcus Garvey Academy, commonly known as FDMG, incorporated in 2014 in the state of Pennsylvania. FDMG promotes itself as a school for black boys with misdiagnosed behavioral disorders. With respect to alleged criminal offenses related to illegal drugs, Umar Johnson is alleged to have a cocaine addiction. Now, this is court record. Could this be where some of the money went? You think he could have sniffed or smoked the money up? With respect to alleged criminal offenses related to trespassing, Umar Johnson routinely records himself conducting so-called school tours of abandoned buildings. Johnson rarely records himself with any real estate agents or brokers. Johnson rarely records how he gains access to enter these abandoned buildings. Now I knew when I heard him say, "Can you put a couple dollars together for me?" All right, that sounded like dope fiend talk to me. Can you just put a few dollars together for me? Sounded like dope fiend talk to me. And then you find out on court record, in a court document, with respect to alleged criminal offenses to illegal drugs, Umar Johnson is alleged to have a cocaine addiction. Allegedly. You think this is where the money could have went? Cocaine and snow bunnies? Are y'all hearing me? You think this is why he's so-called broke? After all the money that was donated to him? You think he could have possibly spent it on cocaine and snow bunnies? Again, this is all allegedly, but it's in a court document. Let's walk. Now, since we all know that Pan-Africanism is bullshit, let's go to the Zondervan Compact Bible Dictionary. Ham, the youngest son of Noah, born 96 years before the flood and one of 8 persons to live through the flood, became the progenitor of the dark races, but not the Negro, but the Egyptians, Ethiopians, Libyans, and Canaanites. All right. Ham is the father of these. Ham is the father of these African groups: Egyptians, Ethiopians, Libyans, and Canaanites, but not the Negro. All right, Ham is the progenitor of the dark races, but not the Negro, but the Egyptians, Ethiopians, Libyans, and Canaanites. Let's take it a step further. All right, source, Choctaw Advocate, July 1902, page 2. It says very clearly the Negro is not an African. All right, matter of fact, it says Kansas City, Missouri disenfranchised the Negro and sent him back to Africa. It says it's absurd and impossible. To send black people to Africa is absurd and impossible. And it said, besides, the Negro is not an African. It says that Africa is a misnomer. So we have it in the Zondervan Bible Dictionary that black people are not African. We have it in a newspaper from 1902 that black people are not African. And we find out that 23andMe, as the FDA halts 23andMe sales, scientists' costs of personal genetic screenings are entertainment genetics. Since y'all want to get down with 23andMe and find some ancient African ancestor. All right, FDA halts 23andMe sales, scientists caution personal genetic screenings are entertainment genetics. Consumers should approach personal genetic tests with healthy skepticism and a sense of fun. All right, let's drop this. We finna end this with the Bible. Y'all know how we get down. Let's finish this off with the Bible. All right, Exodus 11:7. But against the children of Israel shall not a dog move his tongue against man or beast, that ye may know how the Lord doth put a difference between Egyptians and Israel. All right. The Lord put a difference between Egyptians and Israel. I said it earlier that black people, we're not the descendants of ancient Egyptians. We were the slaves of Egypt, just like we were the slaves in North Central South America and the Caribbean islands. All right, there's a difference between the children of Israel and the Egyptians. All right, Jeremiah 14:2. It says, Judah mourneth, and the gates thereof languish. They are black unto the ground, and the cry of Jerusalem is gone up. All right, so Judah is one of the 12 tribes of Israel. All right, and it says that Judah mourneth, and the gates thereof languish. When it's talking about gates, it's talking about our protection. It's talking about our leadership. All right, our leadership has failed us. Our leadership, like Edward Wilmot Blyden, that failed us. He fled and went to Africa and played Muslim on y'all. All right, Henry Sylvester Williams that went to England and married a white woman. We're talking about people like Dr. Umar Johnson, who allegedly sniffed up all the money that was donated to him. All right, these are the gates that are in languish. All right, our leadership has failed us. And the Bible says Judah is black unto the ground. All right, the Jews are black. The Jews are black. All right, drop that, Hebrews 7:14. For it is evident that our Lord sprang out of Judah, of which tribe Moses spake nothing concerning priesthood. When it's talking about our Lord, it's talking about a black man named Yahushua, who the world ignorantly calls Jesus Christ. All right, it's talking about Yahushua, the Messiah, again, who the world ignorantly calls Jesus Christ. It says sprang out of Judah. And we just read that Judah is black. And again, Judah is one of the 12 tribes of Israel. I just dropped that, Revelation 1:14. We're talking about Jesus Christ. It said his head and his hairs were white like wool, as white as snow, and his eyes were a flame of fire. All right, it's giving you a physical description of Christ. And it said Christ had hair like wool. Revelation 1:14. All right, said Christ had white, woolly hair. All right, Christ had white, woolly hair. All right, verse 15, and his feet like unto fine brass, as if they burned in a furnace, and his voice was as the sound of many waters. All right, so he had hair like wool. All right, and skin tone the color of burnt brass. So when you think about this, think of a penny. All right, think of a penny. Put a penny up next to your skin. This is what it's talking about. This was the color of Christ. All right, this was the color of Christ. And his voice is the sound of many waters, meaning Christ wasn't soft-spoken. All right, Christ spoke boldly. Christ spoke boldly and offended many people. All right, Christ spoke very boldly. All right, last scripture, Acts 13:1. Now there were in the church that it was at Antioch certain prophets and teachers, as Barnabas and Simeon, that was called what? It says there were certain prophets and teachers, as Barnabas and Simeon, that was called Niger, and Lucius of Cyrene and Manaen, which had been brought up with Herod the Tetrarch and Saul. All right, black people all through the Bible. All right, the Bible is a black man's book. The Bible is a black man's book. All right, white people in the Bible are the enemy. All right, Romans 9:13. To paraphrase, it says that Esau was hated. All right, Esau was hated by the Lord. And Esau was the red hairy man that dwelt in the clefts of the rocks. All right, in the Bible, white people are the enemy. All right, this is a black man's book. All right, Christ was black. The prophets were black. The angels are black. God is black. All right, this is a black man's book. All right, and since 1969, the ISUPK has been teaching that so-called blacks, Hispanics, and North American Indians, the indigenous people of the Americas, are the chosen people of God, and our oppressor is the devil that the Bible speaks of. So let's drop that and say, man, I appreciate y'all tuning in. Like I said, soaking up some of this game. Every Monday, All right, 9 p.m. to 10 p.m. history class. All right, feel free to go back through ISUPK Kentucky on Facebook and YouTube. Check out some of the older classes. Every Monday, 9 p.m. to 10 p.m. Lord willing, we got the history class. Every Tuesday, all right, Brotherhood class, 7 p.m. to 9 p.m. taught by Officer of 1,000. I'm a Wanga Bar. And Wednesday night, 9 p.m. to 10 p.m., the baddest podcast in Kentucky, the only Kentucky podcast you should be watching, Cry Out, Spare Not podcast, hosted by Officers of 1,000. I'm a Wanga Bar in ISUPK. And like I said, come to hear the biblical breakdown of all of the viral videos going across the internet. And with that, we'll do one courtesy salute. Shalom. Yahweh Ba'Shem Yahweh Shah Barakatham, Yahweh Shemalatham Ba'Shem Yahweh Shah. With that, class is dismissed.
These motherfuckers got scraps too, don't get caught lacking. Y'all seen these old cowboy movies, you go to the bar, nigga, you about to get tried. You go out and about, you got there drinking with your brothers and that shit, then you about to get tried out here, but don't be caught lacking and don't kill your brother off some bullshit, man. Don't hurt your people, man. This is for protection only, man. I got family out this bitch, man. I got brothers out this bitch I gotta protect. Somebody trying to run up on us, we lacking. What we gonna do, fight a nigga with a machine gun? Now we're gonna bust your ass. We'll cut your head out and bring it back to the Lord, man. UPK shit, man. Hey, man. Say I got way too much confidence, say it's a problem. All I do is try to pull a woman and say I'm a monster. But really, it ain't nothing, I'm just like my brothers. But shit, you know you look better with me, yeah. Girl, you know you look better with me. How I pull up and then shock, I do my dance on them, what the fuck? How I judge, run it up, you come in fast, girl, boy, stop, bitch. Okay, you know you look better with me. I pull up with lines. I'm a judo with a nigga pride, I'm just like a lion. My woman cook, clean, fuck, and shut the fuck up, yeah. I got bigger problems to worry about than you in adultery. But shit, you know you ain't going nowhere. Hey, taking my move with the bass. Try to walk to the place. Ice on me, come and skate. You really hoe wanna escape. Yeah, we up, fish your face. Or outwork me, what you think? Pretty girl, good taste. Wanna know all my traits. You know I'm on attention. I'm James Brown, they're the Israel. Bullets long, yeah, extensions. The nigga hate what they mention. I pull up how I'm gifted. I'm Mike Jacks with the fixin'. Beat it like I'm Thriller. She say I'm obnoxious. Say I got way too much confidence. Say it's a problem. All I do is try to pull a woman and say I'm a monster. But really, it ain't nothing. I'm just like my brothers. But shit, you know you look better with me, yeah. Girl, you know you look better with me. How I pull up and then shock. I do my dance on them, what the fuck? How I judge, run it up. You come in fast, girl, boy, stop, bitch. Okay, you know you look better with me, damn. Bitch, you basic. If you don't want a South Coast nigga, you chasing ranking. And really, you ain't even damn exquisite. And bitch, you faking. Wanna rush a dog sick nigga. In the picture I painted. And I mean, everywhere I say T, I give you some flavor. But I guess you ain't even wanna take it. Bitch, you outdated. And you done gave it up for some paper. You just like your main man. Start with 3 damn baby daddies. Bitch, what you thinking? You were thinking with your damn box, huh? You the type motherfucker wanna pull up, how the fuck when the fuck, huh? Then beat it from the back, no damn attack, it was just for lunch, huh? Dirty damn bot pussy bitch, wanna talk shit on the low, huh? Wanna diss everybody with, cause you don't even know how they say I'm obnoxious. Say I got way too much